The IOMC Toolbox for Decision-Making in Chemicals Management enables users to identify the most appropriate and efficient actions to address national issues related to chemicals management. It brings together, in one location, all of the available resources, guidance documents, and training materials related to chemicals management developed by the IOMC participating organizations. This tutorial will walk you through all of the main aspects of the IOMC Toolbox, including navigation, content, and collaboration features. Firstly, regarding the layout of the IOMC Toolbox, you will see that the screen is divided into a number of areas. At the top right-hand side are links to Login, to My IOMC, which will be discussed later, and links to the Help page, and to switch languages. In the near future, the IOMC Toolbox will also be available in French and Spanish. Just below these links, you have another set of links to New Navigation, Navigation History, Map, and Name. These will also be explained later in this tutorial. Underneath these links is the navigation banner, which displays all of the steps of your progression through the IOMC Toolbox. On the left, you will find the radio buttons, which are used to navigate through the toolbox. You can click on the radio buttons of the appropriate next step, and then the related information on that step is presented in the main section of the screen. In some cases, there may be additional links and information in the right column. Lastly, at the bottom, you have 3 tabs which facilitate collaboration within the IOMC Toolbox. This will also be explained later. We will now begin walking through the IOMC Toolbox. Here you have the welcome page of the Toolbox. The first step is the gap analysis, which consists of identifying your country's chemicals management needs. This can be done, for example, through preparation of a national profile or national implementation plan. The IOMC Toolbox suggested tools that can be used for such analysis. With your gap analysis in mind, you can click on the Management Objective selection. Here you are provided with a list of 7 management schemes: Pollutant Release and Transfer Register Scheme, National Management Scheme for Pesticides, Occupational Safety and Health Management Scheme for Chemicals, Chemical Accident Prevention Preparedness and Response, Industrial Chemicals Management Scheme, Public Health Management of Chemicals, and Classification and Labeling System Management Scheme. You can now select a management scheme that was identified as a priority during your gap analysis. In this tutorial, we will select the National Management Scheme for Pesticides. After the introductory page of the scheme, you can proceed to Resource Assessment. Here, you select the appropriate level of resources available in your country for the implementation of the management scheme. There are 3 possible options: limited, medium, or high resources. The content of the pesticides management scheme will differ depending on the level of resources selected. Selecting medium resources, you can then click on Management Scheme Elements, and the scheme presents 10 key elements that need to be in place for a cost-effective national pesticides management scheme. 5 other relevant elements are also presented, which contribute to a more elaborate management scheme. On some pages, you also have more information available from links in the right column. For example, in this case, information is provided on which elements are key or irrelevant depending on the available level of resources. To go back, you can click on the last step in the navigation banner. You can select any of the elements that you're interested in. For example, Product Registration Infrastructure. To set up a product registration infrastructure, 3 issues need to be addressed. The first is the implementation of pesticide oversight, where authorities decide which pesticides can be used in the country. The Toolbox provides some details on how pesticide oversight could be implemented, as well as a list of tools that are relevant for this implementation step. When you click on a tool, you are provided with further details, such as a description of the tool's contents, a brief explanation of why this tool is relevant to the implementation step, and a link to the tool that opens in a separate tab or window. If the tool is available in more than one language, corresponding links are also provided. In cases where only a specific section of the tool is relevant to the implementation step, such as a chapter of a guidance document, it is specified in Why this tool or Guidance. In a future version of the IOMC Toolbox, you will have the possibility to add tools to a favorite list that you can later access in your My IOMC page. When you want to go back to your navigation, you can click on the link above the tool's title or click on the last step in the navigation banner. The next step in this element is the development, publication, and communication of regulations. Here again, you have a brief description of this step and another list of tools relevant for its implementation. The last step in setting up a product registration infrastructure is its enforcement. Finally, you can click on Finish to complete this management scheme element. The Finish page reminds you that other key elements are also needed to make up a cost-effective pesticides management scheme. You can then continue exploring the scheme by clicking on the management scheme elements in the left menu. You also have the possibility to select another management scheme by clicking on the Management Objective Selection button. Another way to start over is to select New Navigation at the top of the screen. As mentioned earlier, you can log into the IOMC Toolbox to access a number of additional features. If it is your first time, you will need to create an account. Once you have created an account, you can enter your login and password. This will enable you, for example, to use the IOMC Toolbox as a collaborative platform to work with your colleagues. The first tab at the bottom of the page gives you the possibility to add notes or comments to any of the implementation steps for yourself or to share with your colleagues. When clicking on the Comments tab, you will first be asked to name and save your navigation. You can save your navigation to your private working space called My Saved Navigations or to a collaboration group. Once your navigation is saved, you will be able to come back to it at any time. You will also be able to see all of the comments that you have added, and if you have saved the navigation in a collaboration group, you will also see the comments your colleagues have written. When a step has been commented on several times within a group, the number of comments appears on the tab. The other two tabs, which you can access without signing in, allow you to send comments to the IOMC Toolbox Management Group or to suggest IOMC tools to be added to a particular implementation step. When you are finished, you have the possibility to click on Navigation History at the top of the screen. This will display a list of all the steps that you have gone through and all of the tools linked to these steps. In a future version of the IOMC Toolbox, the comments added by you or your colleagues will also appear in this list under each related step, and you will also be able to favorite any of the listed tools. When you click on Print Navigation History, it will generate an HTML page with all of the content of the selected pages. Finally, you can access and organize your saved navigations and collaboration groups by clicking on My IOMC at the top of the screen. This allows you to come back to navigations that you have completed or are still working on, to share these with colleagues, or to view your colleagues' shared navigations. There are also a number of features for managing your collaboration groups. You can click on the small pen icon next to the collaboration group's name to rename it. This change will be seen by all members of the group. If you want to modify membership to the group, click on the head icon. You will see the list of collaborators and you have the possibility to leave the group by clicking on the cross next to your name. Regarding your saved navigations, you have a pen icon on the right that enables you to change the navigation name, hide or unhide the navigation from the other members of the collaboration group, and to copy or move the saved navigation to another collaboration group. You also have the option to copy all of your comments. When you click on the envelope icon, you are provided with a link which you can copy and send to colleagues by email. This will invite your colleagues to the collaboration group and they will directly arrive on your shared navigation as well as any other navigation saved under this collaboration group. In the later development of the IOMC Toolbox, you will also have a list of the tools that you have selected as your favorites, and you will be able to group them into folders. Finally, you may go back to your navigation or start a new navigation by clicking on the relevant link at the top of the screen, or view a saved navigation by clicking on the navigation title in your collaboration group. When viewing a colleague's navigation, if you don't want to modify it, you should only navigate by clicking on the nodes in the navigation banner. If you navigate in a new direction using the radio buttons under Next Steps, this will change the saved navigation. The IOMC Toolbox has been developed to facilitate efforts to set up or strengthen national chemicals management schemes. You are encouraged to use the IOMC Toolbox in strategic planning and for day-to-day chemicals management. To help the IOMC to improve the Toolbox, please provide any comments or questions using the Send a Comment tab, or suggest tools that you think should be added to the Toolbox. Thank you for visiting the IOMC Toolbox.